Pittsburgh Steeler fans. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. I'm feeling Iron Man tonight, Tony Defeo. My name is Bryan Anthony Davis from BehindTheSteelCurtain.com. And it is time once again for another Steelers Hangover. You know what, Tony Defeo? A talkative Steelers offseason is about to get loud and boisterous maybe this week. Will it get louder? Tony, I'm getting louder. Steelers aren't in the Super Bowl, but I'm pumped. I don't know what it is. I'm pumped, my friend. What's going on?
So much news every day. It's like you're ready to go to bed and somebody turns the light on and they won't shut it off and you get to get up and shut it off yourself. That's what it feels like. Like, man, let us catch our breath. It's been 2 weeks since the season ended, and it feels like it's been 6 months with all the news.
You know what? I'm looking at the live chat here, and we have people coming in. I know we're a little bit late, so I do apologize. Tony and I try to get everything together. I want to throw up just me that says, hey, family. I'm glad you said that because we are a Steelers family. We're a BTSC family. It is so nice to see all of you hanging out with us. And I say this, and I'm not afraid to say this. If you're checking us out, and there's almost 100 people in the first minute checking us out, if you're going to check us out, when the Steelers have been ousted from the playoffs for 2 weeks now, and there's nothing but offseason, and there's not going to be another meaningful game coming up for another 8 months, that means that you are a true black and gold Yinzer fan. You don't have to live in Yinzer land. You don't have to grow up a Yinzer, but you're a Yinzer, a true Yinzer, and we love you. We're true Yinzers at heart, and that's the thing. Well, Tony's a certified Yinzer.
Right.
I mean, people try to revoke my Yinzerhood because I grew up in Johnstown, PA. They don't consider that as Western Pennsylvania as I do, but I do because I grew up with WTAE. I grew up with DVE. I grew up with KDKA and B94 and Quinn and Banana. Wow. And I grew up with Joe Said It Would, Joe DiNardo. I grew up with those TV stations, those radio stations, so I am a Yinzer, and I don't care who says I'm not, Tony.
I agree. Did your dad ever say this to you? Slow down.
Slow down. My mom would say, you got to slow down. It's slippy outside.
There you go. That's all. Then you're certified.
Yeah, because if it's slippy, then you know that you're certified.
Right.
If you're saying stuff like that. So yeah, I consider Johnstown, Western Pennsylvania. I don't care who doesn't. But hey, there is so much to talk about. And like I said, I just love talking about it. I love this whole platform that we are so blessed to have. Tom LaPointe from Facebook says, I love listening to your shows. And I got to tell you, Tom LaPointe must be cool because I'm looking at his avatar there. And that seems very Van Halen-ish to me. So if that's what that's meant to be, Tom, I love you even more, man. But thanks. We love having it with you. And remember, Tony and I, we joke about being Yinzers and stuff. We're just guys. We're fans with a platform. We were lucky enough to get on this show. So that's the thing. We're just blessed to be able to lead the family. And that's, I mean, Jeff Hartman will say that. Dave Schofield will say that. We all say that. We're just so glad to be the ones that bring the information to you. So I love it. I love being on here. Richard McKinney says, thank you, Bad, from Edmond, Oklahoma. It doesn't matter where you are. And I got to tell you this, Tony. So it's the off season. I bring back Tales from 2 a.m. because we're not going to do the pregame show anymore. There's nothing for pregame. So that's to be an off season show. And I like to do that on Sunday mornings, and Sunday mornings around 9 a.m. Eastern. And the first time I did it, everyone was like, oh my gosh, this is so early. And I'm looking, we've got guys like Snowman, and we've got some people saying, hey, it's 6 a.m. here. What are you doing to me? But, and I'm thinking, well, you don't have to watch it live, but that's how great fans they are.
That's how they play every day.
Yeah, they're like, all right, they're on. I got to go and get my BTSC fix. I don't care if it's 6 a.m. That's how awesome it is. I love it. So, hey, let's get into brass tacks. Let's figure this whole thing out. We had so much go on last week. It's Monday, and things are happening already. And here is the one that I'm going to bring this up first, Tony, because this will hopefully stop some people from telling us that we need to sign this guy in the offseason to shore up our wide receiver core, which I would have been in favor of. But here you go. For those of you pining for a return of one, not Martavius, everyone called it Martavis Bryant, he is off the market. He's like Anthony Michael Hall in the Breakfast Club. He's got a girlfriend now up in Canada. You wouldn't know her. Canada. She's got no morals. And if anybody from Canada, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm just kidding. I'm quoting a great movie. Hey. 1985, Breakfast Club.
What another great trade, right? I mean, they gave us Chase Claypool. We gave them Martavis.
Yeah, but they gave us Michael Beck too, so that's even better.
That's true.
So yeah, I gotta tell you, they also gave us Sean Sweezum way back. So we're really doing well here. But so let me tell you this. So Martavis Bryant is now a Toronto Argonaut, and I think that's great. I hope he gets. I hope this is a chance for him to get back into the NFL. Hey, he's a kid. He's made a lot of mistakes. He's made multiple mistakes. If he can get if he could start over, that would be fantastic. And another guy that didn't make the mistakes that Martavis Bryant did, but Dwayne Haskins, he gets a chance to start over. And I love the Vince Williams quote that, hey, don't worry, he's going to be fine. The strip bars in Pittsburgh aren't that good, So I love it. But and Tony, you had a great show the other day talking about Dwayne Haskins coming into the Steelers. Let me just throw my thoughts in real quick. Here's the thing about it. He is a futures contract. The futures contract are guys that need a chance, that weren't on a roster at the end of last season. They need a chance to come in and stick. You basically don't throw much of it. There's hardly a signing bonus. Not always do they pan out. They have panned out in the past for the Steelers by the name of Mike Hilton. It really panned out with Mike Hilton getting that contract. But here's the thing. You throw it against the wall. You see if it sticks. If Haskins sticks, then you've got somebody. But they didn't bring him in to succeed Ben Roethlisberger. They didn't bring him in to start next year. They brought him in to see if he's worth giving a job to. He's going to start off in the bottom rung, and we'll see where he goes. But give him a chance. GS says, I like the move. I like the move because of that, Tony.
Me too, absolutely. It's a low risk, high reward kind of thing. I mean, we've seen this going back to Landry Jones. They moved on from the Charlie Batch / Bruce Gradkowski type of veteran backup quarterback. Now they're bringing in young guys, starting with Landry Jones, Mettenberger, obviously Dobbs and Mason and Duck Hodges. So they're trying to develop, if not a starter, then a backup. So. Here's a guy with pedigree. He was a former first-round pick. If he works out, great. If he doesn't, then you move on, like you said.
Yeah. Now here's something here that's really important. I'm putting up a lot of the quotes here. I gotta laugh at John Doe. Strippers are terrible in Pittsburgh. Facts. Hey, look, if you're a stripper and I've offended you, I'm really sorry. I tell you what, if you want to send me video of you dancing, I will. No, I'm just joking. I'm joking. No, but Steeler Nation 412 says this, and this is perfect. Haskins should be great in Pittsburgh, but if not, he's an official bust. That's it. Here's your second chance.
Right.
And you're just getting your second chance a lot earlier than you should be. When I say should be, you should take longer to need a second chance is basically what I'm saying. Also, I want to say props real quick to Lumberzack 94. Great name, by the way. Bad, you feel like the BTSC uncle, the fun one with lots of stories, of course. And Tony is like the cousin you always go to games with. BTSC family for real. That means a lot to us. George Teston asked, yeah, but how are the strip bars in Johnstown? Oh my gosh, I have an amazing story from my early radio days that I'll have to save that for a Tales from 2 a.m. I was sent there for work. and it's a crazy story. So that I promise you, I will bring that out. I'll probably have to bring that out Super Bowl weekend because it happened during the Super Bowl, but it involves 122 triple Z woman and a possible concussion for me, and I was paid to do it. So let's just stop there. But let's talk about everything going on. There's so much to talk about. I said it's been a boisterous, loud. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. Cree Ickes, just one of our favorites here, just said, "Bet I'm a stripper." Cree, I've seen you. I've seen pictures of you. I don't think so, but I bet you. I'm just gonna stop. I'm joking, buddy. You just don't look like the stripper type. I just don't know. So I'm wound up tonight. It's just there's so much to talk about. But yeah, it's getting boisterous. The Steelers aren't done. They're going to make some noise. There's so much speculation going on. And throw in the speculation game when you've get one of the most obnoxious Pittsburgh commentators of all time just chiming in today with a tweet. And I got to tell you what, I'm talking about Mark Madden. And I saw Mark Madden shirtless on WCW television way back in 1999, and I still can't get that out of my head. Mark has carved out a great career for himself, so that I cannot say anything about that. I have a lot of respect. But as far as being obnoxious, and this tweet that he just tossed out today saying that TJ Watt skipped his exit interview. And he said, just look, I'm sick of the team. Send the information you need to send me to Wisconsin. And somebody ripped on him right away. He's like, no, it's true. Tony, you just saw a tweet on this. What tweet did you see?
I saw from TJ Watt himself. He said, I don't know who Mark's sources are, but they couldn't be Mike Tomlin or Kevin Colbert because I interviewed with them before I left for Wisconsin. So that's coming right from the horse's mouth. So either he's lying or you know, I'm satisfied with TJ Watt, what he said. And even if he did leave, if he was frustrated and he left, okay, you know, whatever. I mean, it's not the end of the world. They're not going to get rid of him, but I'm satisfied now that I read that tweet from TJ Watt.
Yeah, I am too, because I was worried because we talked about this because I saw this right before we went on. We just recorded the retro show before we went on here. So, and I said that to you, and then you're like, oh, wait. I mean, Madden's usually right on. He's on a lot of the stuff, which is true. So that's why I'm not going to I'm not going to say too much. And then but so I got worried. And then right before we went on the show, you said, hey, I just read this quote from TJ. But here's the thing. If TJ is frustrated with the Steelers, awesome. Right. I hope he's frustrated.
Right.
Because I tell you what they've been doing, the man's never won a playoff game. You brought it up to me. And it's not his fault. But here's the thing.
Certainly not.
But if he's frustrated, he's the guy that will fire this team up. He's a future captain of this team. He's the future of the defense on this team, along with Minkah Fitzpatrick. He is and Devin Bush. These are the guys that need to get angry, and that's good.
Joe Green he was so frustrated one time before the Super Bowl years. He walked out and almost left, and somebody had to stop him in the parking lot. I mean, that's what you want. I mean, you don't want it to be extreme, but you want your superstars to be frustrated. You don't want them to be satisfied with losing. So if he was frustrated, I'm sure he was frustrated, but you know, did he leave without doing an exit interview? I highly doubt that.
I highly doubt it, because you also said, I don't know if you said this, but he said, that's news to me because I did an exit interview.
Right.
Did you mention that?
Right. Yeah. That's what he said in the tweet.
Okay. Yeah. So, that's, Kevin Colbert talked to him. Mike Tomlin talked to him. So he doesn't know what, Madden's talking about. So, maybe that's Madden just trying to be Madden. I mean, that's cool. I don't think there's they didn't name a video game after Madden for nothing, did they? Right. Oh, wait. Sorry. No, that's John Madden, not Mark Madden. I apologize. So speaking of TJ Watt, let's let's go ahead and look about 12 days from now. Is he happy 11 to 12 days from now? Is he going to win Defensive Player of the Year, or is he going to get screwed out of this, Tony?
I'd like to think he certainly deserves it. I think he had that kind of year, but a lot of this stuff is based on reputation, and everybody knows how great Aaron Donald is. So, and he had a fantastic year too. If we're up to me, I would give it to TJ Watt because I think he had a better year, but these things can go either way. I'd say it's about 50-50. I think it's a lot better than it was last year. I mean, the percentages are a lot better than they were last year. I think he's definitely he has a 50-50 shot, which is pretty good.
I would be surprised if Watt didn't win it, but not shocked if he doesn't. Let's put it that way, because I've seen this go with the superstar always getting it. It just seems like the NFL does want to anoint TJ Watt, though. It seems like they're ready to put him on the cover of things and make him the guy that his brother was too. Aaron Donald deserves it though too. So I mean, I don't have a problem with that. But it's kind of, I said this all along. Ben Roethlisberger would have to do amazing things, like things that nobody has done to get an opportunity to win NFL MVP. The NFL is never going to give him that award unless something just extraordinary happens. And I honestly believe that. But I really feel that they're ready to go ahead and put that title around the waist of TJ Watt. And I think that's something that has been a long time coming. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Some other Steelers news to talk about. We've got a new favorite, Alfredo, in Pittsburgh. Move aside, Alfredo. Fettuccine Alfredo. Move aside. Alfredo Roberts is the new tight end coach. I remember him from his playing days. Hey, man, he had some good tight ends with the Chargers organization by the name of Hunter Henry. You might have heard of Antonio Gates as well. So he's coming over. But I got to tell you, James Daniel, he retired after 14 years. I don't know many people that knew his name. I don't know many people that knows the names of tight ends coach. We know the names of tight ends coach because we've got to look at all these names because we've got to have something to talk about each and every week. But I got to tell you, do you really think this makes a big difference who's there as long as it's just somebody that's capable?
Yeah, it's somebody that's capable. I mean, it's more about the talent than anything, you have to work with. And he's got a good reputation and he's been around and that's good enough for me. I mean, in the old days, you didn't even know who the tight ends coaches were and the DBs and coach, secondary coach, unless you read it in the paper or something. But these guys bounce around. They spend 2 or 3 years at one team, 2 or 3 years at another team. That's just the life of an assistant coach. So I'm certainly confident that he's capable and able to get the job done.
Chad Landsman also says he's also worked with Pep, as in Pep Hamilton. And Pep Hamilton has been talking to other teams. He does, he is still with the Chargers organization. But now with the news coming out today that it is official, Matt Canada is going to officially be named the offensive coordinator of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That means that you won't see offensive coordinators by the name of Pep Hamilton, who's not an offensive coordinator, or Hugh Jackson, which not Hugh Jackman. I know you were getting excited because I know you're a huge Wolverine. I know you love The Greatest Showman, Tony. I know you're hoping for Hugh Jackman. This is the greatest show. Now, I know you were hoping for that, but it would be Hugh Jackson. And I got to tell you what, the reason I bring these guys up, I'm hoping that one of these guys is the next quarterback's coach in Pittsburgh because I think that can make a huge difference. So, absolutely. And remember when Randy Land took over in 2018, they didn't hire a quarterback's coach.
Right.
So in 18 and 19, there was none. They brought Canada in last year. Now he's the offensive coordinator. I think having one of those guys in there would be extraordinary. Look, you might hate Hugh Jackson because of Hard Knocks, for him fighting with Todd Haley, or you might like him because he fought with Todd Haley.
Yeah, who wouldn't fight with Todd Haley? Sorry.
Yeah. Or I love it, Tony. Or you might just think, wait a second, he was 3-36. Yeah,
Right.
he was 3-36, but he was a fantastic offensive coordinator. We've talked about this before when we're talking about offensive coordinators or defensive coordinators. I'll give you one that you guys all know, Dick LeBeau, not a good head coach. Wade Phillips, one of the best coordinators of all time. If there was a coordinators Hall of Fame, Wade Phillips would be in it. If there was a coordinators Hall of Fame, Dick LeBeau would be in it. He's in the Hall of Fame, but he's in as a player.
Right.
If there was a coordinators Hall of Fame, another guy that would be in it would be Norv Turner. None of those guys are going to be even called a decent NFL head coach for their head coaching stints. They're not. But this guy, Hugh Jackson, was fantastic. I would take this guy as a quarterback's coach to have him on that team. He's a smart guy. He's a good coach, a good position coach, a good coordinator. Bring him in, add him to the mix. You need change there. I would love it. And Pep Hamilton. I would want a guy like Pep Hamilton. My gosh, he coached Andrew Luck at Stanford. He coached him in Indy. Look what he did last year with Justin Herbert. I mean, is he going to want to do a lateral move? I don't know. I mean, Jeff Hartman said it the other day. The Steelers really aren't an attractive franchise right now because of the quarterback situation.
Right. But they do have youngsters you can develop, and Mason and Haskins, and who knows with the draft. So from that standpoint, they might be attractive. But I think when you're talking about an attractive job, you usually want somebody like a Justin Herbert or a Tua or a Trevor Lawrence or somebody like that. So that might be what these guys are looking for. But I think the Steelers, they need a veteran quarterbacks coach to develop these young quarterbacks. That's why they brought in Canada in the first place last year, because they wanted somebody to develop a Josh Dobbs and a Mason and a Duck.
Lifelong fan 07 says also Buddy Ryan. Yeah, that's a good one too. That's a really good one. Thanks for bringing that one up. Buddy Ryan was one of those guys. You could even talk about Rex Ryan too. I mean, I don't think he was a great head coach, but definitely great coordinator. And Rob Ryan, he's back in the NFL. He's back with the Ravens now, coaching the linebackers. So that's something interesting too. But hey, we want to talk about coordinators. We can talk about that. That'll be fine. And you can ask any question you want as we do Q&A when we come back. But we want to talk about quarterbacks even more. And we're going to kick off the next section with quarterbacks. So if you are here on YouTube, if you're here on Facebook, just take a quick stretch. Somebody took a stretch yesterday and they said they pulled a hammy, taking the quick stretch during the break. So do it with caution. That's all I ask. But we're going to take a break. If you're checking us out anywhere you download your favorite podcasts, well, hey, it's easy just to click on to Hangover number 2, and we will be back in black and gold right after this. Stick with us. Welcome back, Steeler fans. My name is Bryan Anthony Davis. Tony Defeo is hanging out alongside with me. This is the Steelers Hangover. We are talkative tonight because it has been a talkative off season, and I got to tell you, it seems like it's going to get even louder with so much stuff happening. Look, the Steelers may have a quarterback next season. His name is Ben Roethlisberger, but there's so much talk because of his salary cap hit. If he comes back, he's going to count $41 million against the salary cap. If he retires or they get rid of him, he's going to be counting about 22, which would be big savings. So some people are ready to push Ben out of town. Some people are saying, hey, we're done. We appreciate all you do, all you did. Here's your gold watch. But the guy just put up 500 yards in a playoff game. But there's another thing to say, you can't really, you really don't want your 38, 39-year-old quarterback throwing it that much. My hope is that the Pittsburgh Steelers And the scapegoat would have been the scheme and Randyland. And I'm hoping that changes now that there's a new offensive coordinator in town. When there's more coaches in town, a different scheme, a different look. Does that include Ben? Look, I don't care as long as the scheme is different. I still think Ben has some value. If Ben's not there next year, I'm fine with that too. I'm really on the fence on this. And the reason I'm on the fence is because I am going to go with whatever that the brass at the pit of the Pittsburgh Steelers decide here. So everybody's like Myrna Jane and Bert says windows closed, rebuild. Some people are in the on the side of the fence saying that, hey, wait, there's still a chance. There's still one more year. You still have enough talent here. So Brighton Barnes asked, did Pouncey officially retire? No, but it's gaining more steam and more noise that he's going to, but that's not official. The line, if you look at my Fact or Fiction the other day, Tony, the line isn't going to change as drastically as a lot of people think. I don't think it needs to either. There's just going to be some adjustments there, but it's not going to be glaring, and they still have a chance next year as well. But there's so much going on in the league with quarterbacks where, especially when you look yesterday, Tom Brady just led the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to a Super Bowl. And so a lot of teams are thinking, hey, we can get that veteran and bring him in. A lot of people now, Matt Stafford's saying, I don't want to come back. You did not bring Darrell Bevel, my offensive coordinator, back. I'm ready to go ahead and try another team, trade me. And that's basically what is being reported that he's saying. So a lot of people in Pittsburgh are like, ooh, trade for Matt Stafford. Aaron Rodgers is not expected to stick around in Green Bay. So there might be, if you thought the quarterback carousel last year was crazy, with Rivers going to a new team, with Brady going to a new team, it's going to be even crazier this year. Will the Steelers be a part of it, or are they going to draft one?
I think it all depends on what Ben does. If Ben comes back, then I don't think they're going to draft one. I think they're going to use their picks to make the team better around him as much as they can. If he goes, if he does retire, or they get rid of him, if they pull a Troy Polamalu or Mike Taylor and say, or Hines Ward and say, we want you to get on with your life's work. What I think they're going to do, because of their cap situation, is I think they're going to, draft somebody in the first round. I think that's how you go about it. You draft somebody in the first round, you throw him in, and excuse me, you have his whole rookie contract to find out about him and see if he's the guy. To bring in somebody like Aaron Rodgers or Matthew Stafford, I mean, that's like night and later that night. That's the difference, right? You're not really, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is 1-4, I guess, or maybe 1-5 now in NFC Championship games. I mean, people talk about Ben and his struggles in the postseason. What about Aaron Rodgers? He hasn't done anything in a decade as far as the postseason is concerned. I mean, he's been to a few NFC title games, but he hasn't been back to the Super Bowl. So, here's a guy that's a year or two younger than Ben. I mean, he had a great year. He might be NFL MVP, but could you even afford him anyway with your cap situation and what he's going to command? And the answer is no, not unless you want to do what they've been doing, and that's kick the can down the road for how many more years?
You know what? Jeff Hartman's dad says this: you can kick the can down the road so much, then you've got to pick it up.
Right.
It might be time for the Steelers to pick it up, but there are so many things to look at. There's so many camps that are saying that, I want Ben to stay. I want Ben to go. We're ready. Here's my question. And it's not really with that scenario that I just mentioned. What do you want to happen? Who do you want to be the quarterback in 2021 of the Pittsburgh Steelers? This is Tony Defeo, not what they should do, what Tony wants them to do, what Tony's hoping happens, and what do you want them to do in the first round of the draft? This is Tony talk. Go.
I want it to be Ben. I know it's not I can't believe it's not a popular sentiment, but that's who I want it to be, because I think he gives him the best chance. And, like I said last week, in October, November, people were crying. Why isn't he getting more respect? Why isn't he getting more consideration for NFL MVP? And now people want him to go, and they want to move on. I think of the current quarterbacks on the roster, he gives them the best chance to win next year. Of the other ones that people keep calling for, there's not a realistic chance that I'm bringing any of those guys in. if they go out and they draft the quarterback, if they do get rid of him and they do what I said a few minutes ago and draft the quarterback in round 1, he's not going to be ready to lead them in 2021. So I want Ben to be the quarterback next year because I think he gives them the best chance to compete. As far as what I want them to do in the first round, gosh, I mean, I guess I would say if Pouncey retires, maybe you get a center, or maybe you go after a guard or somebody along the offensive line, or it could be time to, people forget, Cam Hayward's getting up there, even Stephon Tuitt's getting up there. You might lose Alou. Maybe it's time to shore up that defensive line too. I mean, I think you win in the trenches, and I think that's where you're going. If Ben's still here, I think you go for offensive defensive lineman in the first round.
What I want as far as quarterback, I kind of echo your sentiments with Ben. I'd like to see one more year, but there's a part of me that wants to see the salary cap, get some relief on that salary cap as well. But the main thing I want to see them do is get a quarterback of the future. I just don't think the quarterback of the future situation opportunity is really this year. I don't even know if it's next year, but it's got to be soon. But here's the problem. You're not going to find it at 24. You're not going to find a great one at 24. Right. When Eli went number 1 overall, when Rivers went 4, well, actually Rivers went number 1 overall.
Right.
Well, no, I guess Rivers did not go over. Eli still went number 1 overall. Rivers went number 4, and then Ben went number 11. Somebody went 24. Do you remember who went 24th that year? It was a quarterback.
Was it J.P. Lossman?
Yeah, J.P. Lossman went. Right. And, it's just the Bills needed a quarterback. They went with one. It's kind of a reach. I don't want the Steelers to have to reach. If they move up, I'm going to be fine with whatever they do because I trust them. They know more than I do. Dallas Quinley saying draft an OT. I really want an offensive tackle. As far as running back, and we're going to have plenty of times to talk about the draft, there's a guy, I want them to take a running back in the second round. I want them to go with one of the kids from North Carolina. I just think those guys are absolutely tremendous. So I'm really looking at them doing something like that, and they can get a guy in the second round at running back. They're going to need to address that as well, but really shore up that offensive line too. But there's so many places they can go. If they decide to trade to move up for a quarterback, that would be good too. So we've got about 10 minutes left in the show, and I'm going to open it up right now, and we're going to do a Q&A. So we're going to take about 5 to 7 questions before we go ahead and shut down for the day. So start throwing in those questions right now, and we will do our best to answer them. I've got to bring up this name here. Tony and I just did the retro show, and we were talking about how great this guy was as a role player. I don't know if this is that guy. I'm sure he's not. But how awesome would it be if this viewer, D. Winston, was Dennis Dirt Winston? How awesome would that be?
That'd be great. And if it's not him, whoever it is, you have a great sense of history. If that's who the name's supposed to be. But I hope it's Dirt Winston. I mean, if it is, then I'm not. I always say I'm nervous talking to players, but I wouldn't be nervous. Let's talk, Dirt. What was it like filling in for Jack Ham in Super Bowl 14?
D. Winston does say line problem due to 90% shotgun. That's very true, and very good comment as well. So let's see what we have going on here, Tony. Here's Actually, I'm not going to bring that one up. I was about to bring one up, but let's not do that. Lifelong fan 07 says, is Dwayne Haskins a legitimate quarterback? My answer to that is we will find out, but you don't need to. I mean, all he has to do is show what he can do, and this is his chance. This isn't the Steelers' chance to get a quarterback. This is Dwayne Haskins' chance to prove that he's a legitimate quarterback. Alex Smith says he is. He just needs to be in a good situation. He was kind of thrown to the wolves in Washington, and his lack of maturity hurt him. If he can be in a situation here where he could be your third QB. Byron Leftwich was a third QB. If he has an opportunity to learn in a good organization, and I consider the Steelers a very good organization, he has an opportunity to do something. The hope is that you don't hear anything about him next year. Maybe that he's on the roster, but you have guys ahead of him. He was not brought in to start, and that's the bottom line of the whole thing.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's up in the air as to whether or not he's legit, and that's the conundrum about quarterbacks is people want to decide on these guys after 10, 12 games. He's had 13 games, I guess. Mason's had 10, 11 games in his career, and people they make up their minds, and they don't let these guys. They don't give them a chance to develop, and the teams are the same way. The teams and the coaches and the owners, they're the same way. They want to move on. Other positions they get time to develop. What about Robert Spillane? Somebody like that, somebody who spent a couple years in the system, and then he got his chance, and he was able to prove himself through repetition, through reps, through snaps, and these quarterbacks don't get that chance. So let's give him a chance. Let's see what he can do. Let's see what a year in the Steelers organization, like you said, practicing every day. Let's see and absorbing. Let's see what happens.
Absolutely. And we bring up this one here. And Debbie Dickerson says, are the Steelers looking at Najee Harris, running back? Yeah, they are definitely looking at him. Can they afford to bring him in? And when I say afford to bring him in, at the expense of a quarterback or a tackle or a replacement at center, and for possibly, and that's going to be the next question we're going to go over too. But Najee Harris would be absolutely fantastic. If you could get him in the second round, that would be even better. I just don't think you're going to get him all the way down where the Steelers are picking in the second round. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that might be like 50, somewhere around there, 48 or 50 in the second round. So I just don't think he lasts, but there are some other players. And you look at last year, Tony, Jonathan Taylor went in the second round, mid to late second round. J.K. Dobbins did too, Cam Akers. So there's some guys that you can go ahead and get. Najee Harris would be great to have on this team. I just don't think you go for this guy when you really need the offensive line to be open holes for a running back, and you need a quarterback in the game too. So I think running back would be great. Harris would be amazing. I would not complain if they got the guy. The thing is, I just think that the running back is lower on the priority list for a lot of teams.
Right, and people are always talking about draft value, and it's just not the round for them anymore. Every now and then you'll see one getting drafted. Like a Zeke Elliott, or last year, the kid's name from the Chiefs, who I can never remember.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, CEH.
Right. Yeah, he went 32nd, and it's rare for. It's almost like the second round is their first round now, and you can get a lot of great value in that round. So, Harris probably, like you said, he's probably not going to last. I think somebody said in the live chat it'd be 55th overall selection, but. I think you have to maybe chance it unless he really puts on his stock really rises and he happens to be there at 24 and you're just so tempted to take him. But like we always say, the line makes the running backs. I mean, obviously you want a great talented running back, but I think if you don't have a line, forget it. So I think they have to go about shoring that up first.
So John Trent asked this: of all free agents, who stays, who goes? Oh my gosh, that's a huge list. So what I really want to do is I want you to go ahead and check out some of the other shows on the BTSC Family Podcast. Check out the Scobro shows tomorrow night. They're talking a lot about free agents. That would be a great opportunity. I know they're going to talk about a good bit of who stays and who goes on there. It would just be it would be not enough time, and I don't want to steal their thunder from tomorrow night, but I do, John, I appreciate your question. I really do. Cree says, Bad and Tony, do you think we should let Pouncey and DeCastro go since they are now injury prone? Here's the thing, you have some cap savings with Pouncey. The thing about DeCastro, I don't think you save that much on the cap with DeCastro. I don't think DeCastro is as injury prone as a lot of people think. I think he had an injury filled year, but he still played. I think he's on the rebound, and you would want to keep one of those guys around. Does not look like Big Al's going to be back.
Right.
Tony. Pouncey, it's pretty much up to him, and I think he is opting out. I think he's going to retire. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm kind of, when it comes to something like that and those rumors, I mean, he hasn't disputed those rumors, unlike TJ Watt with the Mark Madden thing. I think he's going to retire, Pouncey. As far as DeCastro goes, I agree with you. He's not really injury prone. I mean, a lot of his injuries have been that one major injury in his rookie year was a freak injury when one of his own players fell into him. Just remember, in 2019, he was an all-pro right guard. And I can't believe his play fell off that much between 2019 and 2020. I think he had an injury, like you said, he had an injury-filled year. And, if he gets that corrected, maybe surgery in the offseason, I think he'll be back to his old form next year.
Dallas asked, do we go TE in round 2 or 3? Yeah, I actually think if a good one is on the board, you actually do. My gosh, if you're sitting at number 2 in the second round and Pat Freiermuth, if that's the way to pronounce his name, from Penn State is sitting there, yeah, I'd say you grab him. I really think you do, because you've got only one more year left of Eric Ebron probably as well. And with Vance McDonald now retiring, I think you're going to want to bring somebody in. Tony?
Yeah. I mean, they've been, they brought in, they traded for Vance McDonald. They signed Ebron. They signed Ladarius Green a few years ago, and that didn't really pan out. They really haven't invested in a tight end in a good while since Heath Miller, I guess, or am I missing somebody as far as a youngster? So maybe it is time. Yeah,
because Jesse James was brought in to be. They didn't expect Heath Miller to retire as early as he did. So he was brought in to be that second guy, that blocking guy. He did better than a lot of people expected. John Knox asks one more question about Pouncey. Is Pouncey required to announce his plans prior to the draft? No, he's not. You kind of expect him to do. You really want him to make that decision before free agency,
right?
And because that affects the cap, and that's just something you would kind of expect him to do, because if you're going to make a decision like that, you want to let the team know so they can make plans, because everything free agency changes.
Right.
Everything changes. So, that's what you're looking at there. Anything else, Tony, as we're going to go ahead and get on out of here for another edition, but we covered a whole lot of stuff. Is there anything I missed, man?
No, it was a fun show, and Matt Canada's a new OC apparently, and I'm okay with that, because I would be okay with whoever they got. I don't know much about any of these. I mean, I know Hugh Jackson has a track record, and Matt Canada has a track record in college, and so I'm just excited to see what he can do. I'm always willing to give these coaches a chance. I think that's all you can do as a fan, is give them a chance. Don't write them off too quickly. And even next year, when there's a particular series of plays that you don't like, don't change your Twitter feed to fire Matt Canada or blame Canada or whatever you want to do. Just give the guy a chance.
There's one thing I did miss, and you did not call me on this. And I'm looking through the live chat, and D. Winston mentioned Duck Deep Ball last year was way better than Mason looked at the Chargers game. Now Duck is in Los Angeles. He's a Los Angeles Ram. He has signed a contract with them. I believe it's a futures deal. But so Devlin Duck Hodges, late of the Steelers, I'm gonna miss that guy.
He was a great story. I mean, he was a phenom for 2019. I remember meeting you and Dave at the and his brother at Heinz Field, and watching everybody walk around with their duck hats on. It was for a brief moment. He was a sensation. He's a Division II or whatever they call it player, and he's getting a chance. He got a chance here, and now he's going to get a chance in LA. Good for him.
I'm hurt, Tony. I'm hurt. You didn't even mention what I was wearing that day.
Oh gosh,
I was wearing a Duck Hodges jersey. I actually bought a Duck Hodges jersey. I didn't pay a lot for it, but
I failed. I failed. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Now, the picture that we took together that we use for our thumbnail for this show, I'm wearing a BTSC shirt because I put that on over it because I knew I was going to use that for it. But I was definitely wearing my Hodges jersey that I got for that game, and not one of my best purchases of all time, but I'm proud that I have it. I'll put that right next to in the closet my Jarvis Jones jersey that I have.
Well, I mean, Ducks, one of the reasons why it's fun to be a fan, because who saw that coming, right? Who saw him kind of being in the toast of Pittsburgh for 5-6 weeks, whatever it was. And, that's what makes it fun. You never know. That's why sports are the greatest reality TV. I can't wait till next year already. Snowman asks,
Bad, when is your draft show? So we are going to have 2 draft shows. We will have ours where BTSC, and I'm going to bring in, we have a bigger BTSC staff, so I'm going to be bringing so many more people. I'm going to bring in the guys from Down Under on that show. Tony's going to be making picks. I'm going to be making picks. We will do that 2 weeks before the draft. The draft, when you, the live chat, the fans, Steeler Nation, not Steeler Nation, BTSC Nation, picks the show. That'll be the week before the draft. Well, that'll be 3 days before the draft. So we're going to be announcing that. We will have our selection. We will be asking you to let us know if you want in on that in April. We'll be doing that, but we will be doing that show once again. That's a lot of fun to see how you guys pick and how we do it. Everybody gets an opportunity to go ahead and pick a number. And so I'm not sure where Snowman picked last year, but somebody picked number 1, and they didn't go Joe Burrow, and that messed up the draft just like that. but that's cool. That's fine. But we do who you really think. You're the GM of the Cincinnati Bengals. You're the GM of the Arizona Cardinals, and you just decide based on that. So it was a lot of fun. It's a fun exercise. So we're going to be doing that next year too. So thanks so much. Thanks for asking that. We have so much fun coming up on this show. We want to go ahead and do more interactive things with you because you guys are the reason that we get inspired to do this stuff. So thanks so much, and be involved. And it's really funny. A guy that was in that draft last year, Mark Davison from Australia, he picked 7th. And now he is going to be on that draft show this year as a member of BTSC because he's now doing the Touchdown Under, our Australian podcast too. So we really appreciate that live gem that we picked out of the live chat. Matty Peverell used to hang out in the live chat too as well too. So yeah. Hey, thanks so much, everybody. Tony, any final words?
I just I can't wait to watch the Super Bowl in a couple weeks. Other than that, I'm looking to decompress football wise. It was an intense year, and now I'm and there's so much news, and hopefully we can decompress and discuss some of these things before something else happens.
All right, we will. Stephen Carestas said this earlier in the show. I promise you, buddy, we are going to have an after party again. We will end up bringing that back. I'm not forgetting you on that, buddy. We will. I'll talk to Jeff. I'll talk to Dave. There may be some after parties in the future too. We got to get Tony on an after party. He would be wild on a BTSC after party. So for Tony Defeo, my name is Bryan Anthony Davis, and I got to tell you, just when you think you've got all of the answers,
we keep changing the questions.
Love you, Steeler Nation.